I'm your host, Kylie, joined by the Miley to my Lily, Amber.
Hi, guys.
And today I am bringing us some hot gossip before we get into the podcast. Have you heard about the most recent Justin and Britney drama?
Oh, I mean, of course.
Okay.
But tell our
We've got
listeners.
to talk about this. Okay. So for background, if you are a novice to the Justin and Britney drama, Britney released her book last year. Justin just did her outright dirty. I don't want to talk about it, so look it up. But we don't like Justin here. We're gonna talk about Justin. We're gonna talk about NSYNC. Don't worry, but we don't like him. But yeah, so he had this whole thing with NSYNC getting back together and stuff. People were wondering if NSYNC was gonna go on tour again. They did like the Trolls movie or whatever.
Mhm.
Well, now Justin's come out with a solo single and announced a solo tour. So just used NSYNC for publicity. Scum. But yeah, so he released a single this past week titled Selfish. And Britney has a song called Selfish. So he was sitting pretty at number one on the charts for a minute, and then all the Britney fans band together and they got her up. I think when I heard the news, they had already gotten her up to number 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end of the day, she was at number 1 and knocked him out of the number 1 spot. And her song was not even released as a single ever. This was from her Femme Fatale album. And yeah.
This was so great to watch happening unfold as it was happening on social media, because first it was like, boom, he released his new song Selfish, and it was like, doesn't Britney have a song named Selfish? And then it was just after that, the Britney fans just like took it into action. They were like, we're not letting this happen.
What's interesting is NSYNC also has a song named Selfish. It's on their celebrity CD. So what is this guy doing?
Clearly, he, like you said, what he's doing is exactly what you said. He's riding off the coattails of NSYNC and low-key Britney Spears.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
just
high
so
key.
happy. Like, Britney is like, I'm done with music. Leave me alone. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to be alone. I just want to dance in my room. Leave me alone.
Yes.
And she had nothing to do with this. Everyone's like, Britney, we got you. Say nothing.
Like, just to give a varying difference of Justin fans versus Britney, right? We all came to her rescue to be like, we're not going to let this injustice happen. Who's coming to Justin's side?
It's justified.
It's like, calm down, ramen noodles. But no, I saw that, and honestly, I was following. It was honestly good tea to follow during my workday because I was having a pretty mundane day. So it was like, this is interesting to keep breaking for.
Yeah, I was like, even though she didn't beat him, she's number 4. Like, he can't look at the charts without seeing another, like, title Selfish and can't help but look, oh, it's my ex. Oops. And then she just beat him. And she
Exactly.
did nothing. She did not lift a finger to make this happen.
Exactly. It just shows the levels of fame,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, he had
So,
his time, but Britney is timeless. Anywho, let's get into our normal programming.
oh yeah. Do you want to say it?
I think it's your turn.
Oh, is it my turn? Okay, guys.
Yeah.
It's time to wind up, wind down, and let's hit rewind. What do you have for us today?
Now this is a story all about how Will Smith rose to fame and came around, and I'd like to take a half an hour, just sit there, and I'll tell you about this show called Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So
Yes.
clearly, I don't need to explain what the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is. But even my husband Nicholas, shout out, who has seen maybe 2 minutes of this show combined, he knows the whole theme song. So if you've never heard of the show, I'm sure we're not the best podcast for you. Unless you are a youngin' doing research, then a jumbo, by all means pull up a seat and join us. But yeah, a lot of this is going to be based on my own knowledge today, but I've done quite a bit of research, which honestly, I have to say, since we've started this podcast, I've learned a lot of like little details about the topics we're covering. And I just want to say it's been so much fun so far.
Oh my
But
God, no, it's the best. This research, honestly, it's just not only is it taking us back to like things that are obviously nostalgic to us, but then we get more like in-depth knowledge to things, and it's just like fireworks go off, I feel.
yes, yeah, we're really enjoying this. So, everyone who has been supporting us so far, thank you so much for
Yes.
giving us this our time. But yeah, anywho, getting back on track, my resources for today are Wikipedia, Independent, Final Draft, Carleton College, no relation to Carlton Banks, The Fresh Prince Reunion that aired on HBO Max, Fandom Wiki, Cracked, and YouTube. So if you're here for research, here's a quick little spiel on what The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was about. I mean, I could just sing the whole theme song and it would describe it, but anyway. So Will was played by Will Smith. He is this troubled teen in Philadelphia, and his mom cannot handle his behavior anymore. So she sends him to live with her sister, Vivian, and her family, which is her husband, Phil, and her children, Hillary, Carlton, Ashley, and then eventually later in the show, Nikki. And this family is rich. So Phil is a judge. And I mean, yeah, they live in Bel Air, so duh, they're rich. So they live in this big mansion and they have a butler, Jeffrey, who is also in the show. And Will is not used to this lifestyle, nor like how to behave in this environment. So that's where the comedy of the show comes in. It's two worlds meshing into one. Will is the same age as his cousin Carlton, who is played by Alfonso Ribeiro, but they could not be any more different. So Will is more into like hip hop, and this is like late 80s, early 90s hip hop. And I'll just say Carlton's idol is Tom Jones. Yeah, you're going to see that many times throughout the show. He has his own dance coined as the Carlton that he does to Tom Jones' song. It's not unusual. And while Will and Carlton spend a lot of time exchanging insults towards each other, they do also get into hijinks together and end up helping each other out a lot. So over time, they become more of like brothers than cousins. And then Hillary, who was played by Karen Parsons, was a bit older, and her character's kind of ditzy. She's not exactly stuck up, but she is like the rich, spoiled persona, but so dramatically so that it is comical. And I loved Hillary because she's so pretty, and then the clothes she would wear were just always so fabulous.
I literally was going to stop you and say she was so beautiful, and that's mainly what I remember about her, and fashion, of course. And I just thought that she, like you said, like she was so pretty. I My first thought was like she was so beautiful. So like we were just on the same like track of mind.
Yeah, she really was. Just her normal outfit was usually like a full suit, like blazer and skirt with the hats she would wear in the hills. She always looked like she was like walking out of Bloomingdale's.
That's the perfect description of it.
Yeah, like just epitome of a Bloomingdale's girl. And then we had Ashley, who was played by Tatiana Ali. She was the youngest sister, and I think she was like 11 or 12. So her character is very impressionable, and she takes a liking to Will, starts to look up to him. And Will would always teach her things like dances or raps. Like I remember the prayer when they had her say grace and she's like, "Thank you, Lord, for this stupid food."
I don't remember that specifically, but that so sounds like something you would do.
Like Will, like taught her this whole rap for the prayer, and it ended with that. That they would always like upset the family
Amazing.
because they would value the aristocratic class that their family had, and he was just throwing a wrench in that. But yeah, so his aunt Vivian was played by Janet Hubert originally, and then Uncle Phil was played by James Avery. They were the heads of the house. Phil had an interesting relationship with Will. because he did not like him very much initially. And he viewed Will as like a punk who was always looking for trouble, and he did not want his children to be influenced by Will at all. And then over the years in the show, they both grow and you see them bond. And specifically in that scene where Will has that complete breakdown over his father not wanting him. Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
Woo, I'm about to tear up just thinking about it because, like,
No.
the acting in that scene.
But do you know that actually that was like a real moment for Will Smith? Like he actually like that was a character break for him, and they actually say that that was something that he actually like from his
Channeled
real
hit
life.
real Will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes it
Yeah.
even more heartbreaking.
The things you find out, like behind the scenes stuff, it's like, wow, acting is a really interesting art.
Totally.
Then we have Jeffrey, who was played by Joseph Marcel. He was around to do his job and always remained professional and would do what he was asked. And Will would sometimes mess with him to say things or get a reaction. And they had a good dynamic because Will's character would always set Jeffrey up for funny one liners in the show. Then there was Will's best friend, Jazz, played by Will Smith's real life musical partner, DJ Jazzy Jeff. And if you saw him walk into a scene, you could count on seeing him being physically thrown out of the mansion by Uncle Phil, which became like a favorite recurring joke.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did this show come to be? And this story has a star studded upbringing. So, you would think this show was based off Will Smith's life, but it's actually loosely based off of producer Benny Medina, who has worked with a number of famous acts, including Queen Latifah, Prince, and Babyface, and has been an exec at both Motown Records and Warner Brothers.
Wait a minute, pause. I have to pause you for one
Yeah.
second. Is this the guy that I'm sorry, I always bring it back to the show. Is it from America's Next Top Model? Was he on there? Is I have to look him up really quick. I'm sorry because if
Yeah,
this is who I think
possibly. Because Warner Brother was the one that did that show, right?
oh, this is him. Oh my god, he was. And they did a whole thing where they basically had to like pitch to him or explain to him like who they were and like what their persona was for like being famous, like what their
Mm-hmm.
persona was going to be and stuff. And it's wow, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So this show is basically his upbringing,
Wow.
loosely. So Medina had become friends with a rich white boy whose family lived in Beverly Hills, and they took him in. And at this point in time, the whole black kid moving in with the white family was overdone for shows. Like when I think about that, I think of like Different Strokes.
Hmm.
Um, so they couldn't take his story exactly, so they switched it up, and that's why the lead character moves in with his family versus a white family that's not his. Benny Medina works on this with his business partner Jeff Pollock, and they take it to Quincy Jones, who had just signed a TV deal with Time Warner. And at this time, Will Smith is very well known for his rapping, as he's one half of the duo DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. So Will happened to meet Benny by chance at the Arsenio Hall show, where Medina approached him about this television show. And Will wasn't sure at first. He had never acted before, so he was pretty hesitant on actually taking this opportunity. Obviously, he came to his senses and gave us this great show. Thank goodness, because it is a great show. And not only was Will based off of Benny Medina, but the other characters were based off of real people. So Hillary and Ashley were based off of Quincy Jones' daughters, and then Carlton came from Benny's friend, who was actually named Carlton Cuse. So they did pay homage to the true story with that. And in its first season, it was recognized as the best rated new show, with its first airing on September 10th of 1990. It raked in nearly 20 million viewers every week. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air made history as it put rap into mainstream, and it showed coexisting with the upper class in a way that didn't make either side feel supreme to the other. It showed how the upper class takes themselves very seriously, and Will is just not having it at all. Entertainment Weekly said this series was one of the few that consistently acknowledges a full range of African American lives. So while having an approach of silliness, the show covered issues including class privilege, race, sex, and identity. Now, in my research for this, I came across some opinion pieces that brought in some other perspectives of the show, and I found them really insightful. So I did want to share some of them. The first one was a writer named Karen Maxey. She wrote on the Final Draft blog about the relationship between Phil and Will. In the pilot episode, Phil tells Will he should learn about what someone is about before criticizing them, which makes sense. And he's a judge by trade. However, most of us know the full picture of the show. And as time goes on, Phil does kind of judge Will, like from the get go, based on his background versus what he's about. So it's interesting to see that character build from the pilot. I also read an essay by Jeffrey Besoy, a Carleton College class of 2016 student who wrote his senior thesis on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He was actually born in Cameroon, and he moved here in the US with his mother in 1999. He was teased in school for being different in the sense he had African roots, and he was actually teased by black kids. He discusses how he ended up finding his circle. He used the term brotherhood, and he discusses how the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air made an impact on their lives and gave them conversation starters every week to discuss important issues they all dealt with in their lives, and it helped them to bond. So again, the father-son relationship between Phil and Will comes up as many people in his group, including him, grew up without fathers. He also discusses how the show highlights blackness in a way that had never been done before, that allowed folks of all races to understand. And he brought up the Cosby Show, which came around first, and how it showed black people in a different way, as the Huxtable family was well off. But the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air shows this with a character like Will to challenge them, and it shows both sides, making it approachable and understandable for people of all races and all walks of life. And he ends up saying this show helped him appreciate his own blackness. It's a really great essay. I will link it in the show notes, as we always do, but if you are interested in what I've said so far, I recommend reading his essay. It's very insightful, and obviously, Carleton College features it on their website, so it's a well-written piece. Clearly, the show was impactful on many people in many ways. It also shed a light on hip hop culture in a way that had never been done before, which exposed it to new audiences, which I say God bless, because hip hop's incredible. And it's not the same as it used to be, but back then it was great. Now, we cannot discuss The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air without talking about the biggest controversy of the show, Aunt Vivian. So originally, Janet Hubert played Aunt Vivian, but was recasted after the third season. After that, she was played by Daphne Maxwell Reid. And I feel like I stand with the majority on this when I say I prefer OG Aunt Viv. But I have nothing against Daphne either. It's just you begin to love a character in the way that they are, and we just don't want change, right?
Yeah, and it's like we know that sometimes like pilot episodes they'll change characters after they realize like maybe the pilot it didn't run so well, and like they'll change a character up. But after 3 seasons, like you said, when you've grown to love or grown to really know a character and they're a staple in a show, you can't really, I mean, you did it, but it's weird when they switch them out and they're like, we don't know what you're talking about, nothing happened.
Right, yeah, like it was weird, yeah. I'm definitely OG Aunt Viv. And we're actually justified in this feeling, because in the reunion show that aired on HBO Max a couple years ago, it's revealed that Will Smith was the one to get our Aunt Viv, Janet Hubert, fired from the show. So apparently they would have a lot of disagreements. He was one of those stubborn kids who had a lot to learn in life, but, they know everything. Meanwhile, she's this woman who, knows her power and isn't going to tolerate being treated any kind of way or misspoken to. She would put him in his place a lot. So, with him being the lead, he's kind of got that ego. And he made sure that she was let go before the fourth season started, and they replaced her. And in the reunion, if you haven't seen it, Will and Janet actually meet in it looks like a theater, like in the seats, and they have this conversation on camera where apparently this is the first time they've communicated since working together. And Will apologizes to Janet, and he accepts responsibility for his actions, which it's nice. However, it's really sad on Janet's end of the conversation, and she does make sure she gets to communicate what his actions did to her. It's a pretty heartbreaking thing to watch. But she shares that losing her job is it not only gave her the struggles of losing a job, but she was also blacklisted from Hollywood, and then her own family, her own blood, ridiculed her for losing the job, and she still faces a lot of judgment, and that's an environment and a group of people that should be supporting her. So
Wow.
I must say it was inspiring to watch her speak on that, because he apologized and good on him, but it's so much easier to just say three syllables, I'm sorry, than to go on and suffer like that for all these years, honestly, decades.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of men in the industry, we see like our boy Justin Timberlake will get away with that, where due to their actions a woman's career is tarnished, and then she faces judgment for the rest of her life, and then they get to go about on with their lives, and they're like deemed as one of the greats. So in this way she's saying, I accept your apology. You don't have a full understanding of what you are apologizing for, and I need to give you that before we squash this. And for me that was pretty powerful to see that. And honestly, that's what her acting as Aunt Viv brought. Like, she was a very powerful, strong woman, the matriarch of the household. And the way Daphne played her was more of like easygoing. And I'm not trying to insult her in any way. Like, she was directed and scripted that way. And I'm sure, especially after they dealt with Janet, like, they made her that way. But I mean, the original Aunt Vivian was just a very powerful woman, and that's why I loved her. Now, highlighting Janet's work, I wanted to talk about some iconic moments for the show. So I wanted to start off with Aunt Viv's big dance number. Do you remember that where she's in the aerobics class? So if you don't know what
Yeah.
we're talking about, what happens is Aunt Viv is taking this like dance aerobics class, and there's this, young girl, probably in her early 20s, that keeps giving her dirty looks like, what are you even doing in this class? And Vivian just goes off in a freestyle, nails it, and the girl is just shooketh. And it's amazing. It's amazing. That is the Aunt Viv I love. Another iconic dance in this show was anytime Carlton did the Carlton.
Yes.
Like, how insane it is, like, just a silly dance move that becomes so iconic that it's named after the character doing it for all of eternity in society.
Right. I can still visualize it in my head right now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Alfonso Ribeiro actually got inspiration for this move from two people. So I was curious and I looked into this. So he got it. It's funny. So Courtney Cox and Eddie Murphy are the two people that came together to inspire this.
Wait, I get it.
So Courtney Cox was in a Bruce Springsteen music video, dancing with him on stage. Look it up, and if you're, we'll make a reel with the visuals too. But Eddie Murphy then does a joke about it in his stand up, and he's pretty much making fun of the way white people dance, and he imitates her dance moves. So
Yeah.
then Alfonso Ribeiro took that and made that into the Carlton. And the whole point of the Carlton character is like the white boy. Like, he is internally a white boy. So That's where the dance move came from, and I thought that was super interesting because I was
I
curious.
love.
I always wondered, like, did he just make that up and that's what it became, or was there some history? So I looked that up because I didn't want to come to the podcast today without an answer.
I love that.
And then, of course, as we mentioned, there's the emotional breakdown that Will has over his father abandoning him when he's talking to Uncle Phil. And then you see them bond. And honestly, I tear up every time I watch that because so many young men and boys, they need a dad and they go through this. And Will's acting in that scene. And like you said, like he wasn't fully acting on that. But that was such a good scene and very
Mhm.
few scenes that I've seen in my entire life on any movies or shows like run rent free in my head like that. I think like the only other one would be like Zendaya's mental breakdown in Euphoria when she finds out her mom flushed the drugs down the toilet. Anyway, we'll get back on track. I am almost done here. So I also just wanted to point out some of the actresses that had guest starred on the show as Will's girlfriends. So we had Tyra Banks, who was Jackie, and then Nia Long played Lisa. And apparently Lisa was only in one season, which is kind of weird.
Oh,
I could have sworn she was in like three of them at least. I thought she was in
yeah.
a long. I loved Lisa. But others included Tisha Campbell, which I know best from My Wife and Kids. And then we also had Jasmine Guy, best known for A Different World, and then Kim Fields from The Facts of Life. And there were also a lot of memorable guest stars in the show with Queen Latifah, D.L. Hughley, Boys to Men, Jay Leno, Hugh Hefner, Raven Simone, and dun dun dun, Chris Rock. That aged poorly.
Smack.
But yes, that is what I have about Fresh Prince. It was truly an iconic show that did things differently than they'd ever been done before. And I truly think that was an iconic 90s show.
Oh my god, thank you for taking us back because honestly, yeah, that was definitely one of my faves of the 90s.
Yeah. What do you have for us today?
For us today, I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a 180 here. We're going to go a little more girly today. And we're going to talk about the store Club Libby Lu. So, my sources today are Wikipedia, thelist.com, glam.com, malls.fandom.com, the Washington Post, which I, for some reason, found extremely interesting, and the experience of being in the store back in the day.
I'm excited for this because so you told me you were going to talk about this, and I've walked into a
Mhm.
Libby Lou, but when I was getting ahead and I was getting images for our thumbnails for this episode, and I was like, I don't think I really know much about this. So I'm really excited for what you're gonna. I did not do my deep dive because I was like, I'm gonna learn from Amber. So I'm excited.
Okay, I'm excited to talk about it. So, I'll get into the company basics and then we'll get into the fun part of like the store breakdown and like what the store actually was. So, Club Libby Lou was founded in August of 2000 in Chicago, Illinois by Mary Drolet, who was a former Claire's executive, and her partner Montgomery Ward. Um,
Oh, that was a department store, Montgomery
Mon-
Ward's.
oh, okay, that's good to know because I was like, I know this name, but like I don't know why the
Yeah, it
name
was. It
resonates.
was like a Mervin's almost. If you remember
Oh,
Mervin's.
I again like phew, so that
Throwbacks.
makes sense. Um, yeah, so the store was actually named after Mary's childhood imaginary friend.
That's so
I think that's adorable. So, Club Libby Lou was a specialty retail store that focused on providing a unique and interactive shopping experience for young girls. The stores were known for their vibrant and colorful atmosphere, with a focus on offering a variety of products and services catering to the interests of preteen and teenage girls. It's interesting that you made the connection with the Montgomery Ward because I didn't, but in 2003, the chain was actually bought by Saks. So Saks owned the company.
okay.
Um, and they bought it for 12 million when they only had 11 stores at the time. In the
Hmm.
next year, in 2004, 50 store locations were opened across the entire United States. So we've just jumped from 11
That's
in a
one per
brief.
state.
literally. In 2005, revenues were around 46 million, which was a 53% increase since the previous year. So Saks owning them is doing good things for the company at this point. And then by 2006, the chain had 87 locations. At its peak, Club Libby Lu had around 98 locations spread out across the United States. 70 of the stores were standalone, and 20 of them were within department stores owned by Saks, which I think is interesting because I don't ever think that I saw one that was within like a department store. But to be fair, my knowledge based on where we were going to, we lived in the Chicago, like outside area of Chicago. So this obviously the store was based out of Chicago, so I
Yeah.
think we were seeing like the Chicago versions of it pretty much. Um and then so getting into the stores and all the fun stuff, the good stuff, because that stuff is the stuff, but this is the fun stuff. So one of the main features of Club Libby Lu was Club Libby Lu Makeover, where girls could receive makeovers including makeup application, hairstyling, and sometimes even costumes. The store offered a range of themed parties and events, making it a popular destination for birthday celebrations and other special occasions. So basically, like the best way to describe this is like anyone who's been to Disneyland or Disney World, this was a mall version of Bippity Boppity Boutique.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes. And it was more of an affordable, I say affordable, but it was more affordable than Bippity Boppity Boutique. So the chain's aesthetic was peak Y2K glam, heart shaped mirrors, sparkly silver stars, a stage, and an explosion of hot pink and lavender to make girls feel like rock stars. At the front of every store, there was a fairy who dusted girls in fairy dust, aka glitter, and granted their wishes as they walked through the store.
Oh.
So, yeah, no, super cute. I remember this like it doing the research really brought me back to like some core memories of like because I low key trailed behind my sister. She was little tween teeny bopper one, and I was probably too old for this store. Yeah, I didn't even care. No shame, literally. So, so a makeover at Club Libby Lu costs between $25 and $60 depending on the package choice, which is why I say can like significantly more affordable than Bippity Boppity Boutique by far. I don't
Yeah.
know what the prices are, but I can't imagine they're starting at
I'm
twenty five
sure it's
dollars.
triple
So
digits starting.
easily. And it included, like I said, a full hair updo, nail polish, makeup, and occasionally a costume. And there were 5 makeover choices that you could choose from. You could do rocker, priceless princess, tween idol, superstar, or royal heiress. Shout out
Oh my
Paris
god.
Hilton.
Oh my god.
So when the makeover was done, you could choose between a headset tiara or hair extensions, and then strut your stuff down Club Libby Lu's bright, flashy runway in a feather bow, modeling and dancing to a catchy 2000s pop song.
Oh my
Like,
gosh, that's amazing.
who didn't want? And this was peak Again, I keep talking about America's Next Top Model, but this was peak America's Next Top Model for us. So you're telling me that like I didn't want a chance to strut down the runway? I don't even care about the makeover.
Well,
I just want the
even
runway.
that, like, I remember, like, as a little girl, like, you'd have your slumber parties, and that's what you would do. You would put on your clothes, even though it was your everyday clothes, and you would
Hmm.
walk the runway for your parents.
Yes.
And
Oh
you
my
do each
god.
other's hair and makeup and do a fashion
Yes.
show.
Oh my
That's what
god.
this is giving.
Literally, do you remember too also back to school shopping was always coming back home and trying everything on?
Yes.
That was the fashion show too.
Yes.
So, right, like exactly. And we were already doing this and we were already having concerts at home too. Can you imagine like having the headset and being able to do a little concert real quick?
So that specifically, I didn't want to spoil it, but the headsets. When I saw that in the photos, I was like, "Oh my god, what did I miss out on?" Because that
Yes.
I remember like in 4th grade when Britney was huge, it would be like draw a picture of you doing what you want to be when you grow up, and I would freaking draw myself in my Britney outfit, like my stick figure in my Britney outfit with the headset.
Yes. Which, by the way, have you heard? I mean, this is a little tangenty off, but have you heard about the whole Mandela effect about how when she was in the You Drive Me Crazy, she actually doesn't have a headset on when she's
Oh,
wearing the red outfit?
the red outfit.
You Drive Me Crazy, right? Isn't that You Drive Me Crazy?
Are you thinking of Oops?
Maybe it is oops.
Because she's wearing green and you drive me crazy.
Then I must be having it backward. But where she's wearing the like
The
a
cat suit?
yes.
That's oops, I did it again. I don't
Okay, then
remember
it
her
is
wearing a
oops.
mic.
I remember her wearing a mic. This is so weird because we're the opposite ends.
Yeah, because she's like an alien.
I remember her wearing it for some reason and
Huh.
doing her whole dance. Okay.
Interesting. Unless she performed in the outfit, maybe a concert and did it.
Maybe. I don't remember. But yeah, the whole Mandela effect is like half of us think
Huh.
that it actually she was wearing it and some of us don't.
I don't remember that. That's so interesting.
Okay. So guys, let us know. Was she wearing the headset or not? Because now I'm curious because we're
Well,
on two opposite ends.
we will make that our Spotify poll this week. And sorry, I'm going to tangent
No,
really
yeah.
quickly. If you're listening on Spotify, we are every week adding like a Q&A question you can answer or a poll, and it's just your way to get in the conversation. So be on the lookout for those. I always forget to
Yes.
announce it, but yeah. Or if you're listening elsewhere and you have Spotify and you want to participate, you can just go to the episode and find that poll.
I like it. This is a good question. They're gonna be like, "Why is this the question?" It's like, listen, you'll figure out why.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with Club Libby Lu at all, but it does at the same time because
Yeah.
I feel anyway.
No, Brittany was a girl with the headpiece.
Right. So she coined. I feel like she coined it. The whole thing, even though
Yeah.
she didn't. But that's how it resonates in her and Christina Aguilera. But I want to
Yeah.
give it to Brittany.
It's like the pop princess microphone.
Totally. Um, so in addition to playing dress up for the day, Club Libby Lu's VIPs, which were very important princesses, which I just think is so cute, they were guided by their club counselors, aka Club Libby Lu employees, over to the potion bar. This is my favorite part. This
Oh
is
my
where I got
gosh.
so excited.
You're gonna make me
Yes, get so
so
excited.
sad that I never got to experience this. Like, I want this for adults. Like,
Oh.
everything you're telling me right
No,
now.
seriously. Oh, I have that in my notes too down on the bottom. I'm like, why aren't we doing this now? It gives, and again, this also gives me like art stuff vibes, but like we
Yes.
couldn't DIY art stuff.
Oh my god.
Which, by the way, they should bring that back. Why are we not doing art stuff? Bath and Body Works could have my soul again if they brought art stuff
For
back.
real. For real. And I usually don't touch them because there's like so much toxic stuff in their lotions
Yeah,
and stuff. There's so much perfume and alcohol in it. But if they brought back art stuff, give me all the glitter.
literally. And I heard apparently like their wallflowers too are actually kind of toxic, but I have
Oh
like
yeah.
30 of they're all up in my house. I got to use them right now and they smell really good. So
Yeah, Bath and Body Works is so toxic.
they really are. But you know, they're also connected to Victoria's Secret.
Yeah,
They're
they're part
under
of the limited.
yeah, so you know,
Yeah.
toxic.
Yeah. I think my mother worked for every company but Victoria's Secret in that corporation. So
Oh, damn. That doesn't sound fun. Bless her heart, literally. But let me tell you. Okay, so the potions bar at Club Libby Lu, it was a unique and whimsical feature that added an extra element of fun for the overall experience for young girls. It was essentially a section within the store where girls could create and customize their own beauty products, often referring to them as magic potions. This interactive and creative activity allowed them to have a hands-on role in crafting personalized beauty items.
I'm so upset. Like, okay, I don't care if we're here or we're with you, where you're at. Next time we are together, I am like, I don't care if they have to be like the synthetic tablecloths. I'm buying everything purple. We're gonna have purple seat covers, and we're just gonna have a Libby Lou night. It's gonna be DIY, but we're doing this.
Yes.
We're gonna
Oh my god.
pop stars. I don't care. We're doing this. I'm so upset I never got to have this fun.
Wait a minute. What an amazing, like, our birthdays are within a month of each other. We could have like a birthday slumber party type vibe for ourselves.
Yes. Oh my god,
We're
yes.
doing it. Oh my god. What if we did this as an Instagram live and we just did it
Oh my god,
virtually and we bought
yes.
everything and we just like did it and like had everyone interact for our birthday? Wait, this is a good idea.
Oh my god, yes, guys. It's happening.
Okay. No, I'm obsessed. And it would be so fun because I actually remember back in the day, Pinterest. Do you remember when everyone was making their own like sugar scrubs?
Yeah. Oh
Okay, so
yeah.
like we can do this. We know how to do
Yes.
this. We're good. Okay. So Girls could choose from various bases for their beauty products, such as lotions or lip glosses, and then customize them with different colors, scents, and glitter. The potion making experience provided a playful and magic atmosphere. Girls were often given whimsical names for ingredients they used, enhancing the fantasy aspect of the experience, which just like I love how cute this is. And I just want to go back to this. So good. I don't know. This is just the
Yes.
uh
It's just innocent fun. Innocent girly
right?
fun.
I like miss this part of like the 2000s and just being a kid and like yeah, the
Yes.
carefreeness of it all.
Yeah. And this was, I mean, we've got those like skincare 10-year-olds now that everyone's terrified of. But this was just like the
Yes.
innocent fun.
I think that's what it is it's I think we're in such a jarring like futuristic point now where it's like 10-year-olds aren't even they're skipping this fun whimsical
Yeah.
part of their tweens and they're skipping right to adulthood and it's like you don't want you're
Yeah, you
missing the
don't want that.
fun. Oh yeah, so while the focus was on fun and creativity, this experience also introduced young girls to the basic concepts of skincare and beauty product formulation in a lighthearted way. So basically, it was teaching kids, ingredients that they're putting in their skincare and what, is good and maybe not good for certain, beauty products. And they're also learning skincare at a younger age. I mean, this is the way they should be learning skincare, not going to
Yeah.
Sephora and buying these serums that they don't
The
need.
bubble elephant, drunk elephant bubble crap.
Yes, bring this back. And it's clearly like thinking back to it too, also like based on the one of the women who co-founded it, like she was a Claire's exec, so she got like the concept of like what works for kids, younger girls, and it wasn't too mature or. And I like see that was the correlation and that it kind of liaisoned over, but it was still its own separate company. And then just to say, so the merchandise at Club Lulu included a selection of clothing, accessories, and beauty products tailored to the taste of young girls. The store often carried items such as tutus, tiaras, glittery accessories, and other trendy fashion items. To have the tutus and the tiaras.
Yeah.
Evan Collins, a co founder of the Consumer Aesthetics Research Institute, told Very Famous Magazine that Club Libby Lu was born out of an experiential retail boom of the late 90s and early 2000s. Before the economic crash, people had money to burn, and concept heavy retail like Rainforest Cafe and virtual reality theme parks became uber popular. Throwback
What a
Rainforest Cafe.
throwback. Yes. That really was an experience.
Yes. Have you eaten there before?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So you've done the whole thunderstorm and everything.
Yeah.
So good.
Gotten the Oreo shake or whatever, and then like
Yes.
the lava cakes and yeah.
Yeah, and the peak 2000 Rainforest Cafe cuz
Yes.
obviously there's not really technically Rainforest Cafe anymore, but there are a
Mhm.
couple more locations that are still
Yeah.
open. One of them's actually here. It's what mall is it? I think it's like the Ontario Mills Mall. It's like
Oh,
this
interesting.
big mall out there.
Well,
And so
what's
it's
funny is the one I've been to is the one that was at Downtown Disney, so it was right around the corner from you.
ah where was it at Downtown Disney? I wonder what that is now.
Oh my gosh, it's set up so different now, but it was right by it was towards the end at the um it was by the hotel. But it is set
Oh,
up so differently now. I could not even tell you like
you,
where you would need to go.
I
It's
bet you I
so
could
different now.
guess. I think it's the like World of Star Wars or whatever, like the Star Wars, like there's this giant Star Wars store right there.
Wait, didn't we
Before
go in that?
I thought that was World of Disney.
We went into some store because they were like telling us we had to put our mask on, and then she went to tell me that, but out of the three of us, I was the only one that already had my mask on, and she's like, "I'm so sorry." I looked at her so confused because I'm like, "My mask is on. Am I losing my mind?" And then she's like, "I'm so sorry."
So funny. Okay, maybe it was then, honestly.
It
Oh,
wasn't. It was on the opposite side. Like it was on the same side as the hotel. Because like the hotel, there's the hotel, and then like the
yeah.
pool's kind of across from it. It was like on the same side. It's just so different now. I
Interesting.
couldn't even tell you.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to look at the map or something. But anyway, okay, that was so off tangent. But anyway, no, Rainforest Cafe is everything, or was everything. Experiential retail and restaurant stuff, like they were saying, that really was peak 2000, and that stuff was so much fun. I miss that.
Yeah, like it, and going back to our episode on record stores, like the Virgin stores like
Hmm.
that. Did you ever go into a Warner Brothers store?
Yes.
Oh my god, those were amazing. And then the Disney store.
Yes. That's what I'm saying, is like we just don't do it like that anymore, but we don't shop the
Mm-mm.
same way anymore, so I get why we're not doing it, but like that would make me stop going to Amazon. I would come into the store for that.
Since I've moved to Augusta, like things are more shifted towards shopping local, and
Hmm.
our Amazon sucks. Like Amber knows this, I've complained, but I'll tell you guys, like if it says it's going to be here in 2 days, it's at least four, and sometimes it just doesn't come. Like Amazon, we have one distribution center nearby, and it's you get what you get. So it's more incentivizing to just go to the store and buy things you need. And I'm actually really grateful for that. Like our mall is
Hmm.
alive where I was living before. The malls were ghost towns. So I really think, and I'm so sick of Amazon with all their fake crap. Like it's pretty much Timu. So I feel like everything kind of comes and goes. Like hotels are making a comeback now after Airbnb. I think people are going to start moving to cable
Hmm.
again. I hope we can get over Amazon.
I have beef with Amazon right now anyway, because I went to go order something for Eric and well, for his dad, because he'd asked for something, and I was like, oh, I can just do it on my Prime.
Hmm.
I'm convinced they had it. It was literally in the next city over. It was going to get delivered, and I think they just took it and like found the ocean and like threw it in the ocean. Like,
Yeah, like that stuff happens all the time. So I think people are going to start growing sick of it. And I really hope that shopping experience can come back
yeah,
because we cannot be ran by technology.
I'm
It's just not going to
over
work,
it.
guys. We need to be human.
I can't do it. Yeah. So I'm with you on that. Yeah, so I've currently got beef with Amazon too. I'm like not ready. I'm not ready to cancel my Amazon Prime, but I'm like taking steps towards
We're getting there.
it.
12 step.
Exactly. I'm on like step 2. 10 more to go. Okay. There wasn't much controversy that kind of was around the Libby Lu brand. I mean, the main one was that a lot of parents felt like it was a little bit mature for some of the younger kids. They didn't really want them to get the full faces of makeup and the full makeover, which no one was forcing it on you. You could still walk into the store and shop and just kind of go around. And I think you could even, from what I recall, you could do a DIY potion for X amount of money.
Yeah.
I think everything was, for a price.
Yeah.
So, however, there was a little bit of controversy. Priscilla Cabello of Garland, Texas, and her then 6-year-old daughter, Alexis Menyarva, made national headlines in late December of 2007 when Cabello forced Alexis to write a fake essay about her father as part of a contest held by the company where the winner would receive a grand prize of 4 tickets to a Hannah Montana concert in Albany, New York. In the essay, Priscilla explained that her husband Jonathan had died in Iraq via a roadside bomb while serving in the army. Oh yeah.
Wow.
While Alexis was getting a makeover in preparation for the concert at the Libby Lu store in Garland, reporter Byron Harris of ABC affiliate WFAA in Dallas went in the store as part of an investigation for the station and informed Cabello that there was no man by that name who had ever served in the military or died in Iraq. After the story surfaced and gained national attention, Alexis was disqualified and the tickets were awarded to another winner who was not identified.
Sheesh.
What is wrong with people? What?
That's like a special low because I get being the greedy and stuff, but to involve your child on that level of scammery.
That is gross. That is just gross. And this is like, this feels like the beginning of like the culty type of following that pop stars started getting, because this is Hannah Montana. I feel like from her, and I don't want to blame Miley Cyrus specifically, but I feel
No.
like the cult following kind of started around this time with the tweens.
Mm,
Do you disagree?
I mean, look what Britney fans just did this week. Like, I feel like the 90s definitely had their. You know what? If you even go back to the 60s, you had those roadies who would, you know, join these. You know, when you get into like the
You're right.
Woodstocky, like I feel like it's just always been a thing.
You're right. People are just crazy, and when they kind of all come together for like a similar cause, essentially, people can get very hive mindy.
Yeah, but I will like Hannah Montana totally had a cult following. Like I feel like Hannah
Yes.
Montana was the Britney of the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Totally.
I mean
Well,
Britney was the Britney of the 2000s, but like what she was in the 90s, Hannah Montana was in the 2000s. She was that idol for little girls.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, it doesn't it, which is even crazier for me to say that I'm not surprised that somebody would do something like this for
Yeah.
Hannah Montana stuff. Just proves that it's like she was on that level for
Oh
young
yeah.
girls.
She
Uh,
was the it girl.
it still kind of is. I mean, not as it girl, but I mean, she's still up there. She's still popular.
Oh yeah, I love Miley today.
Oh
I
yeah,
I always had like a hate love with her and back then, and I
yeah,
think I could probably sense she wasn't being who she was. Like when she did, oh, what was it called? Like Gypsy something tour or something. I was like, oh, I kind of like this Miley, and then she went
yeah,
back to like whatever and like the pop what Disney was making her be, and then once she started being herself, I'm like, you might be a little crazy, but I have 1000% more respect for you and I love you this way because you do not care.
yeah. I think and plus I think we kind of started getting privy to the fact that Disney was kind of pumping everybody out to be the same. So like when
Hmm.
people started to individualize themselves, it was like, "Oh, I like that about you because you're not the same as everybody else."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, the company is no more, and nothing really juicy happened. The Great Recession of 2008 and 9 caused the U.S. unemployment rate to double and the housing market to fall by 30%. This caused most of the working class adults to tighten up on frivolous purchases, including paying for lavish, over the top birthdays. So in 2008, Saks announced that it would be closing all 98 Club Libby Lu locations. The chain had been struggling to be profitable for years, and the economic recession of 2008 forced executives to finally shut it down in 2009. Approximately 1,700 employees lost their jobs as a result of the shutdown, and I mean, that's just jarring to put into perspective. Is Club Libby Lu still around at all? The stores obviously are no longer in existence, as we know. However, Club Libby Lu still does exist as a brand online at clublibbylou.com. The brand has shifted into selling kids' backpacks, travel sets, and bedroom decor. So I kind of equate them now to like, I mean, they're definitely
Okay.
more, yes.
Hear me out, Libby Lou, if you're still in business. How about we do a tour where you do your little pop-up shops like a lot of these and give the adults this experience? I want to do it so bad.
Oh my God. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is our new venture, do we buy a like food truck and make it like a makeover truck and we tour America just stopping in cities, giving makeovers to adults? I mean,
We'll
not
get,
us. We'll get
yeah.
makeup artists.
What do we call it? Bibby Boo.
No, Posh and Plastic.
Oh my god! Duh!
Which
Oh
is
my
actually a great
god.
name for that too.
No, for real. Like,
If this doesn't
I
work.
we hope that we grow, and if we ever get to the point where we can tour, 100%. I love that idea.
Oh my god, can you imagine? We have the podcast, but the after party is just you coming and getting makeovers like Club Livy
Yeah.
Lou style. And then, it's our slumber party afterwards. That's the after party. Like instead of like meet and greet, it's like slumber
Yes.
party Club Livy
Oh
Lou
my god.
style. I
Yes.
can't.
Fashion show. Oh my god.
Oh, I love it. Headsets and all.
Like while you're waiting in line, you're in the audience watching the fashion show, and then like girls are just getting, or women are
Mm.
getting sent off, and so we just get to like, okay, sorry guys, we'll stop, but share this with a friend. Make sure
Ah!
we get views so we can do this. We just want to
I'm
bring millennial
obsessed.
joy to
Yo, I
Americans
can't
everywhere.
even. Literally. I mean, oh yeah, so somebody, yeah, so for the record, I just, because we went over this pretty much this entire portion of it. So glam.com suggests that Libby Lu probably wouldn't be successful now. They state over a decade after Club Libby Lu's closing, it's difficult to imagine the concept ever soaring to the same heights of popularity today. The hyper focus on appearance, the exclusion of boys and non-binary kids, and the expectation of participation from girls who don't fit stereotypical imagery of femininity all elicit a bit of ick from the more entitled parents of the 2020s. And
Hmm.
I can agree with what the points they are making, how there needs to be a shift, polishing up and an inclusion of everybody. It can't just be focused on female. It can be inclusive of everybody.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that young kids and tweens wouldn't want something like this.
Yeah, I saw a reel the other day of a little boy going to the Bippity Boppity Boutique and becoming a prince. Like, we could just,
Create that as
have
well.
have everything. Anybody can do whatever they want, and let's just have fun. Like, I'm
Yes.
sure these parents are sick of going to Ulta with their kids and spending. So it's interesting you brought this up because I watched a YouTube video the other day. I believe the YouTuber's name is Kiki Chanel. And
Okay.
I've seen a couple topics. She just like finds controversial topics and discusses them. And like she's talked about like people who work on TikTok and they go into like Ross and Marshalls and shop and like buy a bunch of stuff for people and ship
Mm-hmm.
it for outrageous prices. But this one was about like these little 10-year-old Ulta girls.
Mm-hmm.
And she mentioned like they're being like this because there are no tween stores anymore.
Yeah.
When you think about it, like we had Libby Lu, we had Limited 2 was the tween version of the Limited,
Yep.
and then there was Justice,
Mm-hmm.
Lisa Frank. Like I could go on.
Yeah.
We art stuff in Bath and Body Works, Pink and Victoria's Secret.
Yes.
We had all sorts of things for younger girls. And now there's nothing.
And that's such a good point that I guess I never really thought about, because we're berating these younger kids for essentially acting like adults, but we're not giving them much of a choice otherwise as far as like
Yeah.
shopping experiences go.
Yeah, and yeah, there's a better way than just to pull the plug on it all completely. I I'm telling you, I want my little pop-up shop.
I'm telling you, that is like the honestly, it gives me like Pink Nation vibes. Like they should tour,
Yeah.
and then once it's successful again and everyone's hyped up about it, then start having flagship stores in like major cities. Or
Yeah.
or just have the bus go around everywhere and
Yeah,
go hit
keep it
these.
exclusive.
That would be so cool. And then people can request the bus to come to their school. They can request it for a birthday. Oh my god. Oh my god. I wish I could fund this cuz I would do it.
Right. If only we had money.
Oh my god. I'm just
Guys, let
thinking,
us monetize. We have so many dreams.
right? And we want to help you guys. You know you guys want this too.
Yeah, we just want to put the money into the podcast.
That too. All right, but we'll stop rambling about this. That's all I had for Club Libby Lou.
Well, thank you. Yeah, like when I saw the photos, I was like, oh my gosh, what did I miss out on? Because I knew you'd go in there and I just thought it was like body glitter type thing. But when
Yeah.
I saw there's like different things and like their hair is done and they've got the mics on, I'm like, oh, what is this?
Oh my gosh. I know, and it feels like a fever dream now, but it was definitely a thing. And I have to go back and look, but I swear we've got a few pictures of my sister when she got a couple of makeovers, because like she would do the
Hmm.
makeover. I'd be like, you want a makeover, right? Because I want to go play with the potions. So we've got some of her somewhere. I've got to find them. And if we find them, we can throw them up somewhere.
Yes, for sure. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Posh and Plastic. Please rate and review the podcast. It's going to help us get discovered by other listeners. And we really like our goal is just to connect with other people who enjoyed the 90s and 2000s. You don't even have to be a millennial. So help us connect. That way, everyone can connect with other people who have the same interests. But yeah, we will catch you next week for another episode.
Bye, guys.